Hey everybody, this is Darwin Reina, the Festival Director of the Northfield Festival right here in Stockholm. Actually, we're going to have our beautiful festival the 23rd, 24th of February this month. And I have the honors to have this great writer. I need to ask her how many scripts she writes per year, because it seems like she does do for a real living. So we have a Genevieve Sipperley. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you? How is the weather there? Nice and cold?
It's cold, but I guess Chicago is colder, right? Probably.
It is chilly today. Yes, yes. I think it's -7.
Oh, so tell me, did I pronounce your name good, or you can give us to us your name, please?
Genevieve Sipperley. I know that's a lot of vowels and syllables, so yes. Genevieve's good too.
It's a wonderful name. Hey, I'm very glad to have you with us. Honestly, it's an honor. I like filmmakers like you that really take your craft to the next level, because you prove it with your scripts, and probably you have more scripts than what we have in the festival. Also, you have pretty good nominations. It's well deserved. Thank you to Scott, who revised all the scripts. Genevieve, tell me, where do you get the ideas, for example, for the first Z? Let's talk about that one, which is very interesting, actually.
Yeah, so the first Z, I mean, when people think zombie films, they think, zombie, typical. So I wanted to kind of do something that was out of the norm. It's actually a historical love story, which is very, very different from what people think the zombie genre is. And I was in Estonia years ago, and I just loved the culture, the people. And one of the things that I passed was graveyard. And what it is, it's not a graveyard. People are buried in the trees. And so like unmarked. And so people like grow within the trees, and something about that just really inspired me to want to do something historical. And so, and then the love story kind of came in when it's different and unique to that kind of thing, but you can't leave the kind of like you can't leave the grave area or else they'll actually die and stuff like that. So it's just through my travels, through like history, through that, and it was just kind of a lot of fun to do. So yeah.
So tell us, like, for example, I'm a director, right? So writing is very difficult. Absolutely, it's people think it's easy, but it's really it's hard work. How do you develop this story into a script? Do you have like a outline notes, or you just write? How is all this process starts come together? Tell us a little bit your process.
Yeah, so it's actually like I see the entire movie in my head, which is a really weird thing. And it's just like one sentence, like one idea, and then I expand it into like the 5, like I call it the spine. Like, hey, where do I see this starting? Where do I see, like, where's the conflict? What's the climax? And how is this going to resolve? And then it's just like I fill in the pieces along the way, kind of thing. So it's kind of hard to explain, but kind of not. But it's just and then as soon as I get like those 5 like plot points, it's like the movie's already played in my head. I'm like, oh, so then I'm just writing down something that's like I've already watched. So and then it makes it easier to explain, like to a director like yourself or something like that. It was like, oh, how do you envision this? It's like, because I've already watched like the movie. So it's really kind of fun to collaborate. That one is still unproduced as well. A lot of my scripts are unproduced. Makes it exciting that when I present to like a director or something like that, that I have so many different genres, which is really fun too. I know some are more elaborate, but I do try to do it based on, single locations or low cast, kind of thing, to make it more like pitchable kind of thing. But yeah, it's just I see the movie and then I write it down kind of thing.
Tell me, as a writer, when you give your script to a director, are you really attached to because when we get a script from writers, the idea that you have, it can be, it's the same story, but we probably approach in a different way, right? How is that for you? Do you Are you still attached to your project, or you left the director to their team? For you, what do you think?
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely. I think it's meeting like the right director. I feel like it's like a trust thing. Be like, okay, go, because you're working with them. I obviously like know a little bit of their work or something, and then so if I like that enough, that's just like go do your thing, and I kind of like take my hands off of it and let them drive the wheel from there kind of thing. So it's definitely like a trust thing. I don't being like, oh no, or I don't nitpick or anything like that. So yeah, it's just like, okay, my craft is done, your turn to do your craft, kind of thing. So yeah.
That's nice, because they are so really, which is, I mean, that's the right approach actually, because I mean, writers are really attached to the projects and they want to tell the director no, this is not like that. No, honestly, because I've been through
Yeah,
that as a director. Yeah, which I understand, right? It's your baby. You wrote it. You have
yeah.
def. Yeah, but I guess you're
But
right.
at some point, you got to let your baby go.
Yes, right. This trust, and yeah, exactly, because this is a collaborative process, right? Writer, directors, actors. It's a lot of bunch of people that we have to trust each other. What about characters? How do you develop the character? Because this is quite tricky, right? To create a very solid character. How's your approach how do you start with a character?
With a character, it's kind of like meeting a new friend, and I see like what they look like, and then that's why I kind of like flesh it out. And then I do this thing where I kind of like write like what they do is like, okay, what kind of coffee would they drink? Would they drink coffee? Would they drink tea? What kind of movies do they like? What kind of, it's like they're a real person kind of hanging out. And so it's just like when I write from their point of view, it's like, okay, would so and so really say this? Be like, no, they would never say this. Kind of like, would your friends say this? Like, no, it's like out of character. So it's kind of like fleshing it out like it's an actual person, like a real human being that you would talk to or something like that. And so then once you start writing the characters, it's like their voice is based on their backdrop, the background that I've falsely created for them. So yeah. It's like they're real, yeah, kind of thing.
Right. Do you besides writing the script, you also keep notes about your characters on the side of the script, or do you do something like that?
No, I feel like once the character, like I start writing, it's like they're already formed, and so it's just like I already know who they are kind of thing. And I usually try to do a script. Once I started, I don't stop. So like I usually do a script like in a month time period, and I break it out into weekends.
Wow.
So every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll find me either at the end of a bar or like a cafe. I'm like that cliche person with their laptop at the end of a bar. And it's just like, and I don't move on to a different project or hang out or anything until the script is done. So I know some people like start it and then like, if I waited like 4 months, I'm like, oh, what is this character again? But because I'm so in the mind, because it's like so continuous, it makes it easier to kind of just keep going. So yeah, I mean, it's just like I'm hanging out with friends on the weekend, except they're fake characters on a screen.
Hey, Genevieve, tell us how do you don't get lost in a future film, because it's 90 pages to 120. How in that process of all those pages you don't get lost during the time you're writing, right? Because I'm writing my feature film now. Oh my god, this part here doesn't make sense with this one. It's how do you keep track to that everything comes accordingly to what you're writing?
So I write it linearly. I just kind of like get it all out. And then I go back and reread it. And then sometimes I'm like, that does not make sense. Or like, how did these connect? And then it's like I fill in. So then I take notes as I'm reading it to like know where to fill in. Like, oh, I have to connect this later. So it's kind of like I just let myself like word vomit like the 90 to 120 pages. And then I go back and then try to make sense of it then, versus like as I'm writing, trying to fix it, because then like it confuses me. So it's just like get it all out, then go back and fix it kind of thing. So yeah.
Right, that's good. That's a nice tip actually, but it's not easy, because when we edit, like I edit films, well, all the time, but it's more easy because you just the timeline, you just push it in 2 seconds you're in the beginning or in the wherever you need to be, right? But with writing, it's like you really have to do the work and and start reading from here to there, try to. So that's a good tip, actually. How is your work ethic in writing? Do you write every single day? Do you have a schedule? Can you tell us? Because I can tell you are a pro writer, that's for sure. How's your
Thank you.
your method?
The work ethic, yeah. I pick a month a year, so it's usually May or August, and that entire month I write an entire feature screenplay, no matter what. And throughout the year, it's me jotting down notes and things like that. And every time I finish a screenplay, I give myself the month after off. So if like I write the feature in May, June, I'm like, your mind is free just to relax and not, take notes and do this and do that. And if I think of something, just jot it down, but don't write anything. And then that whole month, I'm very like introverted, like I don't hang out. I just kind of like, I go to it. Somebody's like texting or calling. I was like, I don't respond or something like that. Cause it's just, I'm immersed in it. And then once it's done, it's just kind of like, I take notes here and there, but yeah, it's just like my whole month is just I'm in that story, I'm in that kind of thing. And then once it's done, I'm like, whoo, let's go get a drink, friends, where are you, let's go hang out. So yeah, but it's just I think that is as dedicated as I get, because I think if it's like something like a schedule, I wouldn't have fun with it. If it's I'm always doing it, I think there'd be a lot more pressure, whereas just like just dedicate X amount of time, and then give yourself like freedom. It's just like a nice bounce for, yeah.
Right. Very nice. So tell me, as a writer, maybe this can be a tricky question, but what do you think is the hardest part on writing? You think what is it, the blank page, what do you think is hardest part in writing for you?
Getting it produced.
I like that one.
So that is definitely one of the hardest parts. The actual process, though, I would say not finding the time. It's I don't know, because I just have fun with it, and I have been doing it for so many years that it's just like I think I figured out, like I've tweaked like what was, if I had issues like in the past, and it was like timing, and like sometimes I would go too long, and I was like, okay, just set it, now that I have like that flow, that schedule. I don't know currently if I can find any kind of things, because again, I think I worked it out, but early on, I definitely, I think it was like timing and stuff like that. But yeah, I think I have it figured out now.
Yeah, so that's what I say was gonna be maybe silly question, because you like it, and it's obviously so. And you actually answered the right question, is to get produced. Yes, this industry is hard, but you have to keep going, because you are there. You're in the right direction, actually. So it's
thank you. Yeah,
it's scammy, it's like I mean, I've been also in this industry developing, so it's coming, as long as you keep pushing on what you like, actually. So hello, do you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes. I think my headphone disconnects, but never mind. What about do you I guess schedules to write? Like I get up 8 o'clock in the morning and write for 3 hours. Do you work like that, or is no?
No, like I wake up, I enjoy the day, and then I think it's like the late afternoon, the evening time is when it's just like I start to kind of flow. So yeah.
And what about you? Always keeping ideas of stories constantly in your mind as well as a writer? 24/7?
I have the next one already ready to go, and starting that one, I'm doing my notes on that, so that I'm thinking March instead of May this year. I'm just gonna hit the ground running and nail that one out. So yes, I already have one. The next one's already about to happen.
What advice would you give me, which I'm doing my feature film now, which is actually, it's been a long process. What advice can you give me to make it shorter, to fight this how do you call that, this when you want to write it, but there are this friction there, you know, that what advice?
The writer's block?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I would say the writer's block. So one good thing is if you're just kind of stuck and don't know what to do, just kind of like, I always carry around one of those moleskin writing books just in my pocket. So at any time, so maybe there's, sorry, Chicago's always sirens going off. Like writing a sentence down, or writing, if you think of like a quote that you want to be in your screenplay or anything like that, so that you have a whole bunch of notes. So like your mind is still thinking about it, even though you don't know where to take it, kind of thing. But also start with like those 5, like, okay, where do you want to start it? What's going to be like that first conflict? What's the second conflict? And then what's like going to be the peak point, and how do you want to resolve it? If you know those 5 things, your screenplay is done, you know, and just have like confidence in that, because you know where the arc, you know, kind of thing is going to happen. And then you kind of flesh it out, because you know, like that first part's going to be 5 to 7 pages. Next one's going to be X amount. So then just kind of break it down more into the 33 to 45 scenes. And then now you really have it. And then it's just filling in the blanks kind of thing. So just kind of start small and just keep expanding it kind of thing. So,
Right.
And it's there, it's done.
Thanks. That sounds super easy, yeah, but because you've done it many times, obviously, but not me. But yeah, because the hardest part for me and for many writers is to really keep the script in a straight line, you know, with the sense that it's supposed to be. Because we go this direction, and it's like, whoa, why am I going this way? I'm supposed to go straight, you know? This is the hardest part, I think, as a no writer, you know, person there all the time. Let me ask you about do you follow the 3-act structure every time, or not really? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
A little. So it kind of depends on what I'm writing. So like, for example, the other screenplay that it's in this festival, Thursday's Blink, that one is more along the lines of, because it's just 2 people having a conversation, you know, the whole night. And so that one was just really to like kind of flesh out for 90 pages, but it was like the 3-act, because that one's different, but it's it still has its high peaks, low peaks, and climax and stuff like that. Whereas like I would say like the first Z and like other ones I do to definitely have like that structure. So I think it's just the story I'm telling, which structure works best for the actual story at the time. So sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Do you have any for other filmmakers and writers, do you have any book that you will recommend, or you're not into methods of books? Or is any book that you think, oh, I like this one, this is a good book, do you guys check it out? What do you think, or not really?
If you're a book person, there's the one called Save the Cat, which is about the screenwriting. I think it's a lot of people like know that, but it's I'm not really a book person, because I think that people get tied to what the book says, and if they don't do what the book says, then they feel like they're not doing it right. Whereas like if you find your own style and do it that way, it's like you can write your own book on, you know, how to write kind of thing, versus like following somebody else's path, because there are a lot of good books out there. But, you know, I feel like I've talked to other writers and they're frustrated, like, well, on page 32, it says do this. I'm like, oh, throw that book away, you know, kind of thing. So I think it can bog down versus help at times. So I'm not a big book recommender kind of person. But
right. Let me get back again to the beginning, because, you know, I jump from question to question. I go back forward. The blank page, right? How do you approach this? Because this is the tricky part, right? When you start writing your script, it's like, wow, how do you approach this? You just put your ideas there and start writing, or you structure before in notes? Tell us a little bit about, especially where everybody got blank, in the blank page, the first one, which it seems easy. Actually, it seems easy, but it's not easy, you know, it's crazy.
One of my favorite quotes is actually, there's nothing harder than a blank page, is one of my favorite quotes. So with that, I think it's just the idea, like kind of like for the Thursday Days Blink one, I've always enjoyed like this. I was having a conversation with my friend at a bar, and it went on the entire night. And I was just like, there's something, there's some content here or something like that, but it's like how to frame it. Or like another screenplay, a hotel, which is in here, the short, it was actually based on my dad because of how he travels and meets people. And so I think that's just little quims of things that have happened in my life. And like, I get like one sentence, I'm like, or like one thought, I was like, is this a movie? And sometimes it's not, but like sometimes, and then I just kind of like flesh it out. So I think it's just little things of my life. And then, and then I make it into a story, because it's not, based on me kind of thing, but it's just, and the blank page was just like the first word, I always come up with the title first. And then all of a sudden the whole movie makes sense. And I have no idea. So on my blank page is the title. And I'm like, I just wrote a movie, even though it's just the title, so get the title down, you're done, you're golden, so yeah, just get those few words. Yeah.
Right. And what about this is a silly question, but I will ask you, are you into like searching for characters' names, special names? What do you think about that? Some I've been interviewed quite a lot, and some they like the name, so they say, oh no, I just put whatever. Others no, I really search for the name, the meaning. What about you?
Okay, that is a great question, because it kind of depends on the story. So like for the first Z, because it is more not historical, but like set back in like 10 centuries ago, and then one of the characters is like ancient, so it's like it couldn't be like Bob, so it had to be something more historical. So I did do research on those names, like historical time period names and things that were related to that story specifically. And then my other screenplays, I always add one friend character. So that's just like a fun fact. So in my other ones, like Shay in Thursday's Blink is actually one of my dear friends. And so a little bit of the characters based off of him. So that's fun. And other ones, so I think it depends on the story. I will do research on what makes sense to that time period kind of thing, because you don't want something that's just like really kind of thing, but and also to their personality, because only so many people can pull off this name. Only some people I'm like, and if it's that, like, I don't believe that person's name that, or their parents were like way off, so I think it kind of just depends on that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, Genevieve, before I let you go, what are you working on nowadays? Well, because you are there, right? Most of the time.
Yeah.
Right? So what is
I am.
What are you having nowadays? What are you working on?
Well, there's two that I'm working on that I'm hoping to finish this year. Both are features. One is in the horror genre, and then the other one's in the drama genre. So it's two different mind frames. So I'm going to finish one and then get to the other one. One's fleshed out. I'm going to flesh out the other one and then decide which one I'm going to take the whole month and just write. So so new things coming, in the next year.
Yes. So like I told you before we started taping this recording, we're really going to miss you, because we have writers coming to Sweden. And you are one of our favorites one, like Escase, and it's like, oh no, she's not coming. But I hope we can you join us. We're gonna have a few things to do online for all the online filmmakers that cannot make it to Stockholm. And maybe next year we can see you personally. I would be very glad to meet you personally. To you,
I would love that.
You're
I would love to meet you. Yes. I mean, it is I tried, I really did, and so I'm very bummed that I cannot be there, disappointed, because I mean, I watched you guys like last year, and I just a beautiful kind of ceremony you guys do. You do an excellent job. I'm just happy to be a part of it. So yes, next year I will try to make it in person.
Yes, and best of luck. You have 2 feature nominations and 1 short film nomination, yes, for Hotel, and then we have Thursday's Blink and The First Z. I like that title, The First Z. It's a cool title. So do you start with you script The First Z, start like that? You write the title. That was the first thing you did?
Yes, because it's the origin on the original first zombie, but again, it's like a love story. So it's just like, how did the first zombie actually come about? So it's the historical love story spin on it. And it's not like the kind of, it's more like you root for him kind of thing. So yeah. So I just started with the title and then I went with it.
Perfect.
So.
Hey, Genevieve, it's been an honor to have you and get your input about writing, which is very important. We're gonna share this pretty soon, so everybody can learn from you as well, you know, which I'm just doing it right now. Best of luck in your nominations in the festival and much success for you. Absolutely, you are in the right direction for sure. And then I'm looking forward to see you in, maybe you should come to Barcelona, to the other festival we have in Barcelona. So why not?
Yes. I would love that. I would love that. Thank you for your time. And I cannot wait to see you online on the 24th for the ceremony and be dressed up and fancy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.